Good morning. This is Dr. Melissa Rich, and welcome to episode 48 of Taking Care of Your Temple podcast. And this is a special one for me today because the title is Creature Comfort, How Pets Contribute to a Happy and Healthy Life. And y'all, I love my pets. And I think that if everybody had a pet, the world would be a happier place. That's just my philosophy. So before we get to the topic, let me go ahead and talk about just some general things that I always talk about on the podcast. The first thing is that the objective of this podcast is to help women connect with God on a regular basis and to use His grace, strength, might, power, all the good things to improve their physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being. There are 4 principles that we follow in order to do this. The first one is to keep our focus on God. Y'all, this sounds so basic, so easy, so like, well, of course we would do that. And it's really a lot harder to do than it sounds because we are just distracted. We're pulled off track all the time. So if you feel like you are constantly trying to pull yourself back in line with where you need to be, you are not alone. You're doing it right. That's how it goes. Next is to acknowledge that we are not enough on our own. We need God's strength, wisdom, power, might, all the things in order just to get through every day. And the good news is He is happy to supply us with those things if we ask Him for. He's not going to force us to take them, but if we ask, He's happy to give them. So that's a good thing. Then remembering it is about progress, not perfection. If any of y'all are looking for perfection and waiting until things are perfect before you do whatever it is, your next thing that you're waiting to do, you're going to wait a long time. If things are perfect, enjoy it because it will last for like 2 minutes and then something will happen. That's been my experience. So as long as we're making progress, moving in the right direction, we're doing good. Then the last thing is we need to work on consciously changing our thoughts. And the reason I keep emphasizing this, one is because a lot of y'all know I come from a background of a family therapist, did that for 28 years. And I just saw that so much. People are getting in so much trouble. They're getting stuck. They're getting in this bad situations because of the messages that they're giving themselves. And then the other reason is that research now backs this up. Research shows overwhelmingly that it is hugely important. It matters tremendously what we tell ourselves because the messages that we give ourselves on a regular basis are going to determine, and they do determine, how we think, feel, act, connect with other people, everything. So if you're giving yourself a lot of negative messages, I don't care if you're in your 70s, it is not too late to change them. Start changing the messages that you're giving yourself, make them positive. Use some scripture. God has a lot of things to say about how He regards us, how we should regard ourselves. So use some of those. Okay, the verse for this podcast, which I think is very appropriate, is 1 Corinthians 3:16. Do you not know that you are God's temple and that God's Spirit dwells in you? Y'all, we see this throughout Scripture, but I think a lot of times we really don't take in what that actually means. And I think that if we did, if we really thought about, oh, that's what that means. If I do this, not being a very good temple, I think that we would all act quite a bit differently. All right, let me start us off with a word of prayer. Lord, I just want to thank you so much for giving me this platform. I thank you so much for the ladies and any gentlemen who are listening to this. I ask that this will be helpful, that you will open their hearts and their minds, that you will give me the words to say and give them the grace to receive them. Thank you for loving us. Amen. Okay, so today y'all have just me, lucky you. And again, I'm going to be talking about pets. I have had dogs for the last, trying to think, 11 years. And I had 2 starting out, then I had 3. Now I have 2 again because, they don't last forever. And that is one of the bad things. Okay, so some of the benefits of pet ownership for health and wellness, because again, that's the field that I come from. Big one across the board is stress reduction. Spending time with your pets can lower your stress levels, and research shows this overwhelmingly. One of the ways that we lower our stress level is sitting there and petting our dog and cat. And they've measured people doing this, and their stress just drops. When you sit there and just love on your dog or cat or I don't know, whatever else you pet, it makes a difference. So they lower our stress level. 2 is they really do improve our mental health. And they do this because they provide companionship and emotional support. And so they help reduce symptoms of depression and anxiety. Interacting with our pets makes us feel good, and it releases those feel-good hormones that we have in our body, like oxytocin and serotonin, and they make us feel better. And, I don't know how often I've had this happen where I come home, it's been a less than stellar day, and I walk inside, and my dogs are so happy to see me. They're running around, they're barking, they're, trying to get me to pet them. My mood just lifts immediately. They make me feel good. They are always happy to see me. They don't care that my hair looks horrible. They don't care that, I totally bombed on something. They love me. They're happy to see me. It provides a boost. Also, they can encourage physical activity. If you have a pet, a lot of times you are walking them, you are playing with them, you're outside doing things with them. And those are all things that make us, in turn, feel better. It's good for them. It's also good for us. Social interaction. Pets can enhance social interaction. A lot of times they're conversation starters, and they provide opportunities for us to connect with people at parks or in pet-related events. I walk one of my little dogs, Chewy, every morning, and we almost always are out there when the school kids are waiting at the bus stop, at a couple of bus stops in our neighborhood. Well, Chewy thinks that everybody lives to pet him. He's a little Yorkie Terrier with some other things mixed in. So he's a cute little dog, and the kids like him. But I'm always hesitant because some people are afraid of dogs, especially some kids. So I always try to explain to Chewy, not everybody wants to pet you. He never believes it. So he is happy to interact with anybody that he sees. And most of the time, kids love him. If I see that they don't, I'll just pull them off. Heart health is improved. Studies show that pet owners tend to have lower blood pressure, reduced risk of heart disease, and improved cardiovascular health. I mean, I think that's pretty cool. I mean, those are great benefits, and what a cool way to get them. Also, they can provide routine and structure because pets need routine and structure. We need to walk them daily. We need to, if we have a cat, clean the litter box. There are things that we need to do, and they help us do that. And routine and structure can be good things. They make us feel better. And then the last one is companionship. Pets provide constant companionship. They can reduce feelings of loneliness, especially for people who are living alone. And I'll be talking more about that. Okay, so some common pets in the U.S. I'm going to go over, and a little bit of the care requirements. Now, some of these pets are going to be, they're going to be ones that you might not have thought of. I had not thought of all of them until I started researching. First one is dogs. Okay. Care requirements for dogs: regular exercise, grooming, training, vaccines, social interaction. Dogs, I think, are pretty easy, especially if you take them on a walk every day. They want to play. They want to be with you. We recently, I told you I had 3 dogs. 2 of them passed away, 8 or 10 months apart. But then I wished this down to 1. Well, Chewy likes people, but he also loves other dogs. He likes to play. So we knew Bugs was our older dog. He was a Boston Terrier, and he was getting up there, and we knew that he wasn't going to be around forever. And we had already talked about the fact that once Bugs is gone, we're going to need to look for another dog for Chewy. And sure enough, once Bugs was gone, Chewy was depressed. So we ended up getting another little dog, Farley, who is a Chihuahua Dachshund. I think I said that right. Mix, a little weenie dog. And it took him a while to get used to us, but he and Chewy just play now and wrestle and run around and just have a great time. And Chewy is much happier. Okay, so they need that social interaction. Cats are another pet. Care requirements: litter box maintenance. If you have a cat, you really want to maintain that litter box or it's going to smell. Grooming, vaccines, quality cat food. Cats can be picky eaters. Dogs will eat poop. I have seen them do it. And then you don't let them lick you. It's, I love my dogs, but yeah, they are not picky eaters. Fish. Um, Really, the care requirements for them, some type of a proper tank setup, water quality maintenance, feeding, and cleaning the tank regularly. Fish don't sound like they would be the best pets because, you don't really interact with them. But research studies have shown that when you sit in front of a fish tank and you're watching the fish swimming back and forth, again, it's that stress reduction. You feel calmer, you feel happier. So I have known of like doctor's offices that will have big fish tanks in the waiting room because it helps the patients calm down. So, no, you can't take your fish for a walk. I don't suggest that one, but you can get some benefits, just calming benefits by just watching them. And they're pretty low maintenance. So they're easy pets to care for. Birds. I don't know much about birds. I've never had a bird for a pet. I've had all the others before. Care requirements. You need to keep the cage clean, some social interaction, a varied diet, and some type of mental stimulation. This is what the research said. I have no idea how you provide mental stimulation for a bird. If some of y'all know, you can contact me and let me know, but I'm sure there are ways to do it. And I know some birds will live a long time. I think I read somewhere that parrots will live to be like 100, maybe not that long, but a long time. So with birds, and with really any pet, you do need to make provision for something happening to you. Who's going to take your pets? Who's going to take care of them? Just be aware of that. Then small mammals like hamsters, guinea pigs, rabbits, care requirements for them, a proper cage setup, feeding, grooming, if applicable, social interaction. Reptiles, not my favorites. Turtles. It started with the T, just got the wrong one. Turtles, snakes, or lizards. So just an appropriate habitat, temperature controlled diet. And I could not do, I think it was snakes or big lizards. One of those, a child of a neighbor had, and they ate dead mice. I mean, they had frozen dead mice. And I was just like, I can't do that one. Not real big on snakes either. One time, several years ago, I was in Oklahoma where I lived at the time, had a bunch of family over, and people were, we're hanging out in the living room, but people are going to the kitchen or the bathroom or stepping outside. Well, one of my nieces, Hannah, had stepped out. I didn't really pay any attention, came back, sitting back on the couch. And when I looked at it closer, I realized she has a snake in her hand, a fairly good-sized snake that she's passing around to people on the couch. And I said, Hannah, why did you bring that snake in? I didn't tell you could do that. And she said, well, I knew if I asked you, you'd say no. And I was like, you were right. No, get the snake out of my house, because I could just see that thing getting loose and then slipping under something, or me waking up to it in bed with me. So yeah, snakes are not my thing, but I know a lot of people who like them. Just secure them is all I want to say, because they can get loose pretty easily. Horses. So if you have a horse, you really obviously want a large outdoor space for exercise, because horses do need lots of exercise and training, and then a barn or some type of similar building to house them in, and then groom them and feed them adequately. Horses are going to eat a lot. I mean, that's going to be an expense. Also, please don't keep a horse in your backyard. That's just, unless you live out in the country and also have a barn in your backyard, that's really not going to be a good option. Not a big horse person either. I will say I kind of got traumatized for life when I was a kid, about 7 years old. Went to this place in the park where they had these horses you could ride. And so what they did is they got you on the horse, and then the guy who was doing it was at the front of like 3 or 4 horses, and he was pulling on the front one. Well, I was in the back. My horse did not want to be doing this. And so it kept turning its head around and trying to bite my leg. I'm not kidding. And I didn't know how to get off. I mean, I'm only 7. And so I'm stuck trying to, make this horse quit trying to bite me. And yeah. And then the other thing I discovered, I have ridden some since then. For me, horseback riding is probably one of the most uncomfortable activities on the planet. It just feels horrendously uncomfortable. There's no way to get comfortable other than for me to get off the horse, which is what I did. But horses do require, and ponies, that's another one. Okay, so these last 3 are ones that you may not have thought of. Pigs. Pigs are pretty popular as pets. Who knew? And they need an outdoor facility. I do know people who let their pigs in their house. I don't know that I would let mine live in the house, but maybe come in. And a lot of areas do have zoning laws about pigs, so be careful with that. Proper diet, long-term commitment. Goats, another one that check the local zoning laws because not every place will let you have them. Some adequate outdoor space, part sun and part shade that's protected from strong winds. Apparently goats don't like strong winds. So again, be aware of that. And then chickens. Regular daily attention. You need to feed them, provide clean water and proper shelter because they need protection from predators and from temperature extremes. So you can't just have chickens just out in your backyard. I don't know, maybe if you live in Arizona or something, but even then there could be predators. So they do need some type of a chicken coop or something. Okay, then let's look at what the Bible says about animals, because the Bible really actually does talk about animals quite a bit. So, stewardship of creation. In Genesis 1:26 and 28, God gave humans dominion over the animals and charged them with taking care of them. So we have a responsibility to care for animals around us. This, just saying. Companionship. Before God made Eve to be a companion for Adam, he made animals to be companion. I love that. So they are to provide comfort and companionship to us, and we should do the same to them. Then caring for animals. Proverbs 12:10 teaches that a righteous man cares for the need of his animal, but the kindest act of the wicked are cruel. So the Bible emphasizes that not only should we care for them, but we should do it in a loving manner. Take care of our animals. Also, respect for life. Exodus 20:13 says, "You shall not murder, you shall not kill." This primarily refers to human, but it also kind of implies respect for the sanctity of life in general, including animals. A big place in the Bible that talks about animals. Any ideas? Lots of animals all together. Some of you guessed it. Noah's Ark. Yes. The story of Noah's Ark in Genesis 6-9 shows God's concern for animals. You know, if he was going to flood the earth and get rid of all the bad people, he could have gotten rid of all the animals too, but he did not do that. He instructs Noah to bring 2 of every kind of animal into the ark to preserve their species during the flood. And y'all, I can't remember where it is, but there is a replica of the flood, of the ark in Tennessee, maybe. If y'all know that one, you can let me know that too. But I have several friends who have visited, and they say it's just amazing. That's on my wish list of places to go. It sounds very, very cool. I don't know if they have live animals in there or not. They may. But anyway, it sounds cool. Let's see. Respect for all life. Proverbs 6:6-8 encourages people to learn from the examples of the ants because they're being diligent. They're working hard. So it emphasizes respect for all living creatures, except when they bite you. Humane treatment. Deuteronomy 25:4 cautions against muzzling an ox while it treads grain, indicating that animals shouldn't be subjected to a lot of unnecessary suffering or restrictions. In other words, we need to be kind to our animals just as we would be to other people. I've always believed, y'all, I may get in trouble for this one, but I've always believed that animals have souls, not equal to ours, but they do have souls. I really do believe that's true. And I think we need to be careful how we care for them. I think some of that could come back to bite us later on. Rest for animals. I hadn't thought about this one, but it is in the Bible. The Sabbath commandment in Exodus 20:10 extends to rest for domesticated animals, emphasizing the importance of allowing animals to rest and not overworking them. It really does. I looked that up and I was like, oh yeah, it does say that. I forgot about that. So again, we need to take good care of the animals that we own. And then they are all through the Bible in parables and metaphors. Jesus often used animals in parables to convey moral and spiritual lessons, such as the parable of the Good Samaritan and the metaphor of the shepherd and the sheep and the shepherds. So animals are throughout the Bible. God expects us to treat them kindly and to take good care of them. And then we can have mutual benefits going on. All right. So now I'm going to look at types of pets and some of the benefits that are associated with each of them. Okay, dogs. Starting off with that one because I'm a big dog person. Dogs are often considered man's best friend, and there's a variety of reasons for this. They make excellent pets. There's a lot of benefits to owning them. And I'm going to go into some of the things that we can get out of them. Unconditional love and loyalty. They are known for their unwavering loyalty, their love. They will always love you. They form strong bonds with their owners, and they provide emotional support. Companionship. Dogs are social animals. They're also very curious. They thrive on human companionship. They provide companionship, and they reduce feelings of loneliness and boredom. So I talked about Chewy already. Chewy loves people. He also loves other dogs. Farley, so far, he's a younger one. We've only had him a couple of months. He seems to really like other dogs. He's starting to like the family as well, but it's, well, ask me again in a few months. We'll see. Stress reduction. Talked about the fact that interacting with dogs and really most animals can lower stress and promote relaxation. Petting a dog or any kind of animal releases oxytocin, a hormone that reduces stress and anxiety. However, I want to emphasize sometimes dogs can increase your stress. So I've had Farley for about 2.5 months now, and he's a lot younger than the other dogs that I've gotten. I got him at about 11 months. Usually when I've gotten dogs, they've been around 2 or 3 years. So it's kind of been a learning experience. He does not like the leash, but I really want to get him to learn how to do that. So a couple of weeks ago, I ordered a harness for him. I put it on, got the leash, got Chewy ready. We went to the park. So we're walking, and Chewy loves it. He loves going to the park. He loves going outside. We're walking. This is great. This is cool. Farley is just jumping and jerking and trying to get off the harness. Well, I wasn't too worried because it was a harness. It wasn't just a collar. He got out of the harness and he starts running around the park. Well, it's a small park that's close to my house, and there is nobody there. So I'm trying to catch him. He was not letting me get near him. And I didn't bring any treats or anything, which that was a mistake. So I go and put Chewy in the car so I don't have to worry about him. Make sure the windows are rolled down enough that he can breathe. And then I'm trying to catch Farley. And he is fast. I cannot get near him. I called my son, who is an hour and a half away, doing a home inspection because he's a home inspector. That's not going to work. When I had first got to the park, there were a few people there. So I'm looking to see if I can get them to come over and help me. Everybody is gone. So y'all, what I finally had to do is I called the Hewitt police. And I told them, I said, I really feel silly doing this, but here's what's going on. The sweet policeman came to the park and helped me catch Farley. And y'all, he went above and beyond the call of duty. Officer Richard, I think his last name was Ennis. There was a creek running through Warren Park. And to get down, the bank is really, really steep. Well, Farley ran down there and there's water, a lot of water. He didn't get into the water. He was more on the side where there's like this little puddle, but then he couldn't get back up because it's really steep. So bless his heart, the policeman kind of has to slide down. That's about the only way to get down there. And then he gets Farley and he's having to carry him, the football hold back up and crawling on his hands and knees back up. And at one point he has to hold, because he needs both of his hands, he's kind of holding Farley by the scruff of his neck, but he got him up there and gave him to me. And I was so grateful because Warren Park backs up to I-35, not very far away. And then there's another major road on the other side. Plus, periodically, I'll get on nextdoor.com and people will say, oh, I saw coyotes at Warren Park. So, I am totally stressing out about this. So I'm like, I can't get this dog. So I thanked Officer Enos profusely. I put it on nextdoor.com. I put it on my Facebook account that he rescued me. He was my hero. But my point is, even though, yes, they can help you relax, they can also cause stress. So just be aware. Okay. Physical activity. Owning a dog encourages physical exercise because, y'all, if you do not walk your dog every day, I don't care if you have a big backyard. I do. I still walk him every day, weather permitting. I mean, if it's pouring rain, we don't go. But he needs that exercise. And I'm really trying to get Farley used to the leash so that I can walk him as well because he also needs it. With Chewy, I was walking him in the afternoon. That's what I've done for years. This past summer, y'all, was so miserably hot. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't walk him in the afternoon anymore because I would get home, wait till about 5 or 5:30. It's still 107 degrees outside. So we switched to the mornings. So we now walk in the morning as soon as it's light, and that is working out much better. Security. A lot of dogs are very protective of their owners and their homes, and they provide a sense of security and safety. So one of my dogs, Daisy, was really, really good or really bad about this, depending on how you look at it. Anytime anybody, she's one that we lost about a year ago, anytime anyone would come to the house, she would just go into hysterical mode, barking like crazy. So then all the other dogs are barking like crazy. Yeah, she would just set everything off. So I never had to worry about any strange person getting too close or coming near the house because I knew. Okay, therapeutic benefits. Dogs are used in various forms of therapy. You've probably all seen service dogs, or they now have what do they call it? An emotional support dogs for people who do suffer from anxiety and stress, and they feel better when their dogs are around. I think that's great. Entertainment. Dogs are often playful and amusing. I mean, my dogs, like I said, they are running through the house, chasing each other, wrestling with a little rope. I was sitting in the living room last night just laughing out loud because they're so funny. They're so silly. And laughter is good for all of us. Also, I love this one. Dogs are really good listeners. They are very non-judgmental. They won't sit there and look at you and say, well, that was a dumb thing to do. Thankfully, they always love you. Dogs are also really therapeutic for children, especially children with special needs. They help them develop like social skills, really do better. Okay, another one, horses and ponies. They can make great pets if you have the space and the resources to care for them. And here's the reason why they're good. Companionship. They often form strong bonds with their owners, and so they offer companionship and emotional support. Physical activity, obviously. Riding and caring for horses is really good exercise, and you're obviously doing that outside. Well, I guess you could do it in a riding ring in a barn. Most of the time you're doing it outside. So it's good all the way around. And again, connecting with nature by getting outside, learning responsibility. I know I had friends when I was growing up who had horses, and although they were boarded because, they lived in the suburbs, they had to go over there every day after school and groom their dog and exercise their horse and feed it. So it was a way of teaching responsibility. Therapeutic value. There is something called equine therapy that is really helpful for a lot of people with like PTSD or different types of emotional issues. There's something very calming and accepting about horses, and that really works well. And then just the emotional connection. Oh, and I did want to say one other thing. I had read some time ago, and I meant to look this up and forgot for this podcast, that, like you have service dogs, there are service horses, and they are miniature horses because the reason that they do horses is they live so much longer than dogs. I mean, dogs are great, but, 12 years or so, they're going to be done. And you get them all trained and you get attached to them, and then you have to go get another one. With horses, they can last for a long time. So just thought I would throw that in there. I read that they were doing that in parts of the country. I honestly don't know if they still are, but I love that. It's just a little miniature horse, and they have like a handle attached to it, and they just go with the owners. I've not seen it personally, but I think it sounds very cool. All right, cats. Cats make excellent pets for a variety of reasons. And y'all, I talk about dogs a lot. I really like cats too, but I had dogs first. And I have a doggy door for my dogs. And if I got a cat now, I'm just afraid it would not last very long with the dogs. So I do like cats. So cats tend to be low maintenance, really much lower maintenance than dogs, I will say. They're independent. They can entertain themselves for hours, give them a few toys. They're happy. Yeah, they are affectionate. A lot of cats are also affectionate. I have dogs in my brain, and they enjoy cuddling with their owners. You don't have to walk them. So for a lot of seniors or people with health issues who aren't that mobile, dogs are really, I'm going to get this. Cats are better options. Sorry. They are quiet and clean. They usually don't require that much space. They're pretty meticulous about grooming themselves and keeping themselves clean. Now, again, you do need to clean out their litter box regularly. Here's one that may not be so good. They have hunting skills. They will keep your house free of pests like mice and insects. However, they may bring you those little presents, because I have cat owner friends who regularly get this, dead little mouse dropped at their feet. And it's like, okay, thank you. Yeah, just be aware. They are good companions for seniors. They are adaptable. Cats can live in a lot of different living types of situations, including small apartments. Dogs really do better with a large backyard. Therapeutic benefits: longevity. Cats live for a relatively long period of time. And independent travel. Cats are much better at traveling usually than dogs are. And I can attest to this. When I moved here, like 9 years ago from Oklahoma, I had two dogs at the time, Bugs and Daisy. Bugs was my Boston Terrier. Daisy was a little terrier mix. Daisy, I loved her dearly. She tended to anxiety, had a lot of anxiety and panic. She does not do well in cars. So it's like a 6-hour drive. She was whining and barking the whole way down. I cannot tell you how happy I was to get there. I already had my house rented. And as soon as I got in and put her in the backyard, she was fine. But yeah, I would not want to do that again. Okay, pigs. I didn't know this, but apparently pigs are really smart animals, often compared to dogs in their cognitive abilities. They can be trained to perform tricks and follow commands. I keep thinking of the movie Babe. Yeah, they can herd sheep. They can do all kinds of cool things. So there you go. They're affectionate. Pigs are affectionate and they enjoy being around people. They can form strong bonds with their owners. They're loyal. And cleanliness. I didn't know this one. I always thought, pigs wallowed in the mud. That was the stereotype. Pigs are generally clean animals. They don't like to defecate in their living area. And if you give them proper training in a clean environment, they stay pretty clean. Also, another one, low allergenicity, maybe. Pigs have hair rather than fur. So for people with allergies, they can be a better bet because they're not going to trigger all the allergies. And then entertainment value. Pigs are playful, hard to say. And a lot of times they just make you laugh because they really are pretty silly. Be aware, though, that with pigs, like I said, you need to check zoning, and you really do need to have a place for them to live, not your house. Okay, I really don't recommend that one. Goats. Goats are affectionate companionship. They are very apparently sociable. They are low maintenance. They don't require extensive grooming or constant attention. They really do sustainable lawn maintenance in a very eco-friendly way. I'm a big HGTV fan, and I've seen several times now where people buy this house and the yard is just horribly neglected. I mean, completely overgrown. And they will bring in, instead of like lawnmowers and all this other stuff, there are companies that do lawn care with goats. The first time I saw this, I'm like, what? And they obviously it has to be enclosed so they don't wander off. So they make sure it's fenced, or they put up temporary fencing, and they just let the goats loose. And in 2 or 3 days, they had that cleaned out. Now, obviously, they have to leave water for them and all this stuff. But I mean, this is probably the most eco-friendly way to clean your yard on the planet. No chemicals, no fumes from a lawnmower. I thought that was very cool. They also can provide dairy products if you want that. They have milk producers, which you can use for cheese, yogurt, soap. They're also very kid-friendly. Goats are often gentle. They're well suited for families with children. They're small. They come in a compact size, and they're naturally curious and playful. So also they can provide hours of entertainment. Chickens make good pets. Well, one of the most significant benefits, what do you get when you have chickens? What came first, the chicken or, yes, the egg? They can provide a supply of fresh, nutritious eggs, which are always yummy. Low maintenance. They really don't need a whole lot of care. You need to provide them, as I said, a place to live, water, food. They also are really good at helping control pests. They're natural foragers, so they can control insects, weeds, and small pests, so you don't need to have chemicals instead. They also can provide fertilizer. Chicken manure is an excellent source of organic fertilizer, which I did not know. So now you all know. Also, entertainment. Chickens have very quirky personalities, and they can be entertaining to watch. And I know some people who have chickens. They literally will carry their chickens around and are petting them. I'd be afraid I'd get pecked, but maybe not. And social interaction. Chickens are social animals. They can be affectionate and they can really enjoy being around people. Some breeds are more docile and friendly than others. And then waste reduction. They can help reduce waste because they can consume kitchen scraps and leftovers that might otherwise end up in the trash. And I have to tell you all the story, true story. I was eating out with a group of friends a while back, and one lady asked for a to-go box. She had gotten chicken fingers or something chicken. And so she got that and the bread, the rolls that were left over, all that. And I mean, she had this big thing and she was just dumping it all in there, not separating out or anything. And we said, what are you going to do with that? She goes, I'm going to feed it to my chickens. And I looked at her and I said, you're feeding chicken to your chickens? She goes, oh yeah, they love that. They'll eat it. So apparently chickens can also be cannibals, just so you know. Okay, so some general information about pets. Dogs are more popular than cats in the U.S. As of 2022, 44.5% of U.S. households own dogs, 29% of households own cats. Those are the two most popular by far. It can cost to own a pet. There is money involved. Forbes advisory survey said that U.S. dog owners spend an average of $730 a year on their dogs. Dog owners spend the most on veterinary care, $367 a year, food, $339 a year, and grooming, about $99 a year. Cat owners spend the most on food because, again, cats tend to be pickier eaters, $310 a year, veterinary care, $253 a year, and toys, $50 per year. So, again, there are going to be some costs involved. Okay, so from a faith-based perspective, I wanted to look at some of the benefits of pet ownership. Companionship and love. Y'all, pets offer this unconditional love, support, companionship, which really is very similar to God's boundless love for us. God always loves us. He always accepts us. He is always there for us. And pets really can kind of remind us of that. They can provide comfort during difficult times. You probably have, but I have had times, and I know of friends who have, where you have lost someone or something so hard, so hurtful has happened that you don't even want anyone to talk to you, honestly. There's nothing they can say that's going to make it better. And that's when, trying not to get choked up, I've seen dogs or cats just go and just sit on your lap, curl up beside you, and just, I mean, obviously they're not saying anything, but they are there with you. And it can be the most comforting thing just to sit there with this animal on your lap and just stroke them and just feel like you're not alone. That's an amazing thing. They also provide unconditional acceptance. Pets accept us for who we are. And that kind of helps us, shows us that we need to do the same for each other. We need to accept others with unconditional love and kindness. There is a connection to nature. Caring for animals can connect us to God's creation, and it can really help us to appreciate the world around us. I mean, the outdoors. If you're out bird watching, or if you are, I don't know, in the ocean and watching the dolphins. I want to swim with dolphins, y'all. That's on my bucket list. These are things that can be good for you. They also can nurture empathy and compassion, because we need to act that way towards our pets. So then we develop that more. We can act that way toward others, because pets can be very loving. They can sense when you need comfort or help, and they'll just come and love on you. I love that. Prayer and reflection. Spending time with pets can offer moments of prayer and reflection. It can deepen our social connection. This is one of my favorite ones, benefits is joy and laughter. Pets bring joy and laughter into our lives. They remind us of the importance of gratitude and happiness in our faith journey. Now, who doesn't want that? And again, yeah, I laugh at and with my pets all the time. They enrich my life in that way. And then unconditional faith. Pets demonstrate unwavering faith and trust in their owners, and that can inspire us to have the same type of faith in God. Okay, so that is it with pets. Now we're going to move on to a fun fact about Waco. And this is actually about Texas, Central Texas. And I love this. There's a Central Texas woman who just competed in her first Ironman 18 months ago. She is getting ready, her first Ironman, y'all. First one she's ever done. Did it 18 months ago. She's now getting ready to compete in the Ironman World Championship in Kona, Hawaii, after qualifying as one of the best in the world. Her first competition. It's an accomplishment that is almost unheard of in the Ironman world, and it requires years of training. So it was Wendy Sharp, 44 years old, of Waco. Okay, so she is from Waco, arrived in Hawaii and getting ready for the big race where she will compete with the fiercest Ironman competitors from around the world. And she said, a lot of people train for years and years to get to this point and don't ever make it. I'm blessed to have been at the right race at the right times, and my coaching and preparation definitely got me here. I mean, sometimes, obviously she prepared a lot, but she was also in the right place at the right time. And I think that's very cool. Hope she does well. Okay. So along with this podcast and Waco Hypnosis Center, I'm available for public speaking. If you're interested in having me, please let me know. You can contact me through my website, www.drmelissarich.com, or you can email me at info@drmelissarich.com. And y'all, I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If there's some animal lovers out there, you probably did. If there's anything I left out, let me know. Contact me. I will be happy to read some of those comments on the air and give you credit for it. So if you have any really good animal stories, send them in. I would love to hear them. All right. If you enjoyed this, I would love for you to write me a review, follow, share the episode. Any of those would be great. Y'all, thank you so much for being here. I hope that you will be back next week to listen to another episode of Taking Care of Your Temple podcast. This is Dr. Melissa Rich. Everybody have a great week, and hopefully I will see you back next week. Bye.